Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and bring you information that really matters for living well. And this deep dive, well, especially for you if you're navigating that really interesting stage of life after 60. It's often a time for reflection, maybe enjoying things a bit more, but new health questions can pop up too, questions you might not have thought about before. Today, we're diving deep into something super important for men, prostate health. There's this common idea, right, that certain issues are just, well, part of getting older, something you just have to put up with. But what if we told you that your daily habits, the things you do every day, actually play a much, much bigger role than maybe you realize?
That's exactly right. And that's what we want to unpack today. We've looked closely at insights from Dr. Mohit Khera. He's a men's health specialist, over 30 years of experience, and he's identified what he calls the 7 worst daily habits. These are things that can, quietly impact your prostate over time. Our goal isn't just to list them, though. It's to explain why they matter and, crucially, how you can start turning them around easily. This isn't about scare tactics or anything like that. It's about empowerment, giving you simple, practical steps for your daily life. Steps to protect your freedom, your confidence, your dignity, really.
Okay, let's jump right in there. This first habit, it seems so, well, harmless. Especially after years of working hard, you feel like you've earned the right to, kick back and relax. Sitting too long. What's the real story there? How does just sitting actually affect the prostate?
Yeah, it does feel harmless, doesn't it? But you see, our bodies, particularly the pelvic area, they just weren't built for hours and hours of sitting still. When you sit for long stretches, the blood flow down there in the pelvis, it slows right down significantly. Think of it like a stream getting kind of sluggish. And the slowdown, it leads to the tissues around the prostate getting congested. That congestion, it fuels inflammation. Over time, this whole cycle, poor circulation, congestion, inflammation, it actually encourages the prostate to grow. So that walnut-sized gland starts getting bigger, and that's when it can start squeezing the urethra. And that's when men often notice things, right? Like a weaker stream or needing to go to the bathroom more often, maybe waking up at night. Dr. Khera puts it this way: your prostate basically reads that stillness as stagnation. And stagnation is bad news for its health. Circulation's down, tissues aren't getting enough oxygen, waste products aren't getting cleared out properly, inflammation just hangs around. It really is like that murky pond analogy. Your prostate reacts to that environment.
Wow, okay, that paints a pretty clear picture. So if sitting is this sort of silent saboteur, what's a realistic way for guys to deal with it, especially if maybe they've settled into a more relaxed lifestyle? You're not saying they need to suddenly start training for a 10K, are you?
Oh, absolutely not. No. The great thing is the fix is really simple. Your prostate loves rhythm and movement. Dr. Khera often tells his patients, give your prostate a gift every, say, 30 to 45 minutes. And that gift is just standing up, stretching a bit, walking across the room, maybe just a quick walk around the house. Even these little breaks, they kickstart the circulation again, relieve that pelvic pressure, and help restore some balance. We've seen it work time and again. Men who just started adding short walks, maybe after meals, within weeks they notice real changes. Fewer trips to the bathroom at night, stronger flow, sometimes even just feeling more energetic. Dr. Khera shared this one story, a 71-year-old patient. He started incorporating these small movements, and it wasn't just his prostate symptoms that got better. His mood improved, his confidence. His wife even said, it's like I have my husband back. So breaking this habit, it's not just physical, it's about reclaiming that vitality, that, freedom.
That's a fantastic point. Small changes, big ripple effects. Okay, let's move on to habit number 2. This also seems kind of basic, but the impact sounds huge. What you drink, or maybe what you don't drink. A lot of men might think, well, I sip coffee all day, or tea, maybe a glass of wine in the evening. I must be hydrated. What's the catch?
Yeah, that's a really common misunderstanding. Those drinks, while enjoyable, they can actually work against your prostate. Coffee, tea, alcohol, they're all diuretics, which means they essentially tell your kidneys to push more fluid into your bladder. So your bladder's working harder, plus these drinks can directly irritate the lining of the bladder and the prostate tissues. That ramps up inflammation. And then on top of that, they don't really hydrate you effectively. So you get dehydrated, your urine gets more concentrated, more acidic. Dr. Khera describes it like rubbing a mild acid on an open wound every time you urinate, if your system is already irritated and dehydrated. He told us about this one gentleman, late 60s, always tired, waking up 4, maybe 5 times a night. He just thought, okay, this is just getting older.
Okay.
But when they talked fluids, turned out he drank almost no plain water. It was all coffee, iced tea, maybe a couple of beers later on. His body was just screaming for water, really. And his prostate was paying the price.
Wow, it really sounds like our bodies are trying to send us signals. So for someone who's maybe in that pattern, relying on coffee or tea, What are some easy, manageable first steps to get more actual water in without feeling like it's a huge chore?
The best way is usually gradual. Don't feel like you have to cut out everything you enjoy overnight. Start small. Maybe swap just one of those coffees or iced teas for a glass of plain water, simple. Or make it a habit to have a glass of water with your meals. Carry a small water bottle around sometimes, just seeing it is a good reminder. These little adjustments, done consistently, they really add up. They make a big difference to your prostate. And when men make that shift, Dr. Khera sees it consistently. Their urine gets lighter, the bladder feels less irritated, the prostate inflammation starts to calm down. Often the relief is quite noticeable. Fewer nighttime wake-ups, less urgency, better flow. Water really is like the body's internal cleanser. It calms things down, cools inflammation, helps restore the prostate tissues. Especially important after 60, when systems can be a bit more sensitive.
A cleanser and lubricant? That's a great way to think about it. Okay, habit 3. This is one I think almost everyone has done, probably without thinking much about it. Holding urine too long. You know, you're watching the game, you're running errands. Maybe you just got used to ignoring that first signal. What's the damage there?
Well, when you regularly ignore that urge, your bladder has to stretch, right? It stretches beyond its natural, comfortable limit. Do that over and over for years, and those bladder muscles, they lose their elasticity, their tone, like an old rubber band that's been stretched too many times. So then, a weakened bladder struggles to empty completely. You're left with residual urine. And that leftover urine, it's not just uncomfortable, it can become a breeding ground for bacteria, leading to infections, and it constantly irritates the prostate. Plus, that constant back pressure from a full bladder signals the prostate, hey, maybe I need to get bigger to handle this pressure. It's almost like a protective reaction that backfires. It's ironic, isn't it? The man thinks he's showing control by holding it, but he's actually losing control over his urinary health in the long run. Dr. Khera shared a story about a man, early 70s. His main complaint was feeling like he could never fully empty his bladder, just couldn't get that feeling of relief. And he admitted, yeah, he'd always delayed going, saw it as a sign of, I don't know, discipline or strength. But all those years, they took their toll. Stretched bladder, weak muscles, constant pressure on the prostate. And it affects you emotionally too, right? Makes you hesitant to travel, maybe avoid social things because you're worried about needing the bathroom.
Absolutely. You can see how that would really impact your freedom. So for those of us who might have fallen into that habit, what's the way back? How do we start listening to our body again?
It sounds almost too simple, but the most powerful thing is just to listen. Honor that signal when your body sends it. Don't wait until you're bursting or it's painful. Just make a conscious effort to go when you first feel the need. And try to empty your bladder fully each time. Take your time. It's about reconnecting with those natural cues. It protects your bladder, protects your prostate, supports the whole system. And the results can be quite profound. Dr. Khera sees patients reporting better flow, definitely fewer nighttime trips, and just this renewed sense of confidence. They're often surprised, actually, like, wow, I didn't think changing that one little thing could make such a difference. But it really can.
Okay, on to habit number 4, food choices. This one, I think, hits close to home for a lot of us. Food's a great pleasure, especially as we get older. But certain foods process things. Fatty foods, lots of salt. They're described as being like fuel to a fire for the prostate. How does that work exactly?
It's like creating the wrong internal environment. These processed and fatty foods, they tend to increase certain estrogen-like compounds in the body. At the same time, they can mess with your testosterone balance, that hormonal shift. It basically encourages prostate cells to multiply more than they should. Then there's the inflammation piece. These foods often trigger low-grade chronic inflammation throughout your system, and the prostate is sensitive. It responds to that inflammation by swelling up. And finally, the salt. A lot of processed foods are loaded with sodium. That makes you retain fluid, strains the bladder, and adds another layer of irritation to the prostate. So yeah, it's kind of a triple whammy. Hormones, inflammation, and irritation. Dr. Khera mentioned a patient, mid-60s. His diet really hadn't changed much since he was younger. Bacon for breakfast, fast food often for lunch, chips at night. Standard stuff for him. He called it comfort eating, something he just always did. But his prostate was definitely not comfortable. Worsening urinary symptoms, constant discomfort, sleep totally disrupted. What felt like harmless comfort was actually feeding the problem that was stealing his peace.
That's a really stark reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every meal is a choice. So what are the most impactful shifts men can make? What should be on the plate?
Well, the core idea is that food can be your medicine, especially for men over 60. Making conscious choices here is key. Simple swaps can be powerful. Instead of processed meats like bacon or sausage, try fresh fish, which has healthy fats. Actively bring in beneficial foods. Think colorful things. Tomatoes are great, lycopene. Berries are packed with antioxidants. Pumpkin seeds are fantastic for prostate health. And those cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, cauliflower, they have compounds that are really good for hormonal balance and reducing inflammation. It's about adding the good stuff in, crowding out the less helpful stuff. And the results. Dr. Carr sees men transform. They report fewer symptoms, sure, but also sleeping better, feeling more vital, thinking more clearly, having more energy overall. One guy put it perfectly. I didn't just feel better in the bathroom, I felt better everywhere. His energy came back, his mind felt sharper. It really shows how food doesn't just affect one gland. It affects your whole experience of life.
Okay, let's talk sleep. Habit number 5. So many men over 60 say, I just don't sleep like I used to. They kind of accept it. But what if that lack of good solid sleep is actually, quietly, making prostate issues worse?
Sleep is incredibly powerful. It's when your body does its major repair work. Tissues get fixed, inflammation gets dialed down, hormones get regulated. Critically for men, testosterone production peaks during deep sleep. And another hormone, melatonin, the sleep hormone, it doesn't just help you sleep. It actually helps control cell growth, including in the prostate. So when you're chronically short on quality sleep, testosterone drops, melatonin drops, and cortisol, the stress hormone, goes up. Dr. Khera calls that combination low T, low melatonin, high cortisol. It acts like fertilizer for prostate growth. It makes the gland more prone to swelling and symptoms. Your body basically misses its nightly chance to heal and reset. Think about that 70-year-old night owl Dr. Khera mentioned. He'd kind of prided himself on getting by on 5 or 6 hours for years, but now he was exhausted, his sleep was broken all night long, and his prostate symptoms were making him miserable. He thought he was being tough, pushing through, but really he was sacrificing his health by not getting that deep restorative sleep his body and his prostate desperately needed. Fragmented sleep just doesn't cut it.
That's a really sobering connection. Sleep isn't a luxury. It sounds like it's essential medicine. So what practical steps can men take to actually improve their sleep?
Exactly. It's arguably one of the best medicines for your prostate, and it's free. The key is good sleep hygiene. That means setting up routines. Start winding down an hour or two before bed. Turn off the screens. Dim the lights. Avoid caffeine and alcohol, especially later in the day. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time, even on weekends. The goal is aiming for 7 to 8 hours of uninterrupted, quality sleep. That's when the magic happens. Hormones balance, inflammation drops, tissues repair. And men who really commit to this, they tell Dr. Carr amazing things. Not just fewer bathroom trips at night, but feeling genuinely younger, stronger, more alive. Their partners notice too, more energy, better mood. That one man who finally fixed his sleep said, I honestly didn't realize how much of myself I had lost until I got it back. It's a huge gift you give yourself every single night.
Right. Moving on to habit 6. This one's about movement, but it's got 2 sides. Either not exercising enough or maybe doing too much of the wrong kind of exercise. For men in their 60s, 70s, sometimes exercise slips. Or maybe they push too hard in ways that aren't ideal. How does this balance work for the prostate?
Yeah, definitely a balancing act. Too little movement, being sedentary. That leads to weight gain, slows down that crucial pelvic circulation we talked about, and shifts hormones towards estrogen dominance. All bad news for the prostate, encourages growth. Dr. Khera had this patient, late 60s, whose symptoms were awful, largely because he'd become almost completely inactive after retiring. He was shocked at the connection. But then the other extreme, too much the wrong kind of strain. Think really heavy weightlifting, especially things like deep squats with heavy weights. That constant high intra-abdominal pressure can put stress on the pelvic floor and directly irritate the prostate. He saw this with a 72-year-old guy, very proud of his heavy lifting, but his prostate symptoms were actually getting worse because of the specific type of strain. So the lesson here, especially at this stage of life, isn't about being a hardcore athlete. It's about protecting your future. It's choosing consistency over intensity, health over maybe pride, finding that balance rather than pushing to extremes.
That difference between just moving and the type of movement seems really key. So what kinds of activities are good? What should men focus on?
The sweet spot is moderate, consistent activity that feels good for your body. Think things like brisk walking, fantastic. Swimming is excellent, very low impact. Cycling, maybe gentle yoga, light strength training, focusing on form, not just heavy weight. These activities do wonderful things. They boost that pelvic circulation, they help lower inflammation throughout the body, and they support healthy hormone balance, all without putting excessive strain down there. It's about sending life-giving blood flow, calming things down, letting your body maintain itself effectively. Dr. Kara sees incredible results from simple commitments, just 30 minutes of walking most days, or swimming a couple of times a week. That patient in his early 70s who started walking, he told Dr. Kara, "I never thought walking could do this, but I'm sleeping better, getting up less, I feel more alive." It really shows the power of finding the right kind of movement for you. It gives back dignity, confidence, and health.
Okay, we've arrived at our final habit, number 7. And this one might be the most personal, maybe the most sensitive: intimacy and sexual health. It's an area many men tend to neglect or step back from as they get older, maybe out of embarrassment or tiredness or fear. What's the impact of that withdrawal in the prostate?
This is such a crucial, often unspoken piece of the puzzle. Intimacy, in whatever form feels comfortable and right, is genuinely like medicine for the prostate. Regular sexual activity helps the prostate in several ways. It clears out fluids that can otherwise become stagnant. It improves local blood circulation. It contributes to healthy hormone balance. Without that natural, regular release, congestion builds up inside the gland. Think of it like pressure building up in a pipe that never gets flushed out. And that chronic congestion, it leads directly to irritation, inflammation, and eventually can contribute to the prostate growing larger. It really highlights how connected our physical and emotional selves are. Dr. Kara shared a really poignant story about a 74-year-old man. He quietly admitted, almost ashamed, that he and his wife hadn't been intimate in years, and his prostate, significantly swollen, symptoms were constant. That silence in the bedroom was having a very real physical echo in his body. Or another man who started avoiding intimacy because he was worried about performance, afraid of disappointing his partner or himself. But that avoidance, tragically, just led to more prostate congestion, worse symptoms, and it chipped away even further at his confidence. It becomes a difficult cycle.
That really drives home how interconnected everything is. It's not just about physical mechanics. So, given how vital this is, what's the advice? How can men comfortably re-engage with this part of life?
The core message is simple. Don't shut the door on intimacy. It's a vital part of health. Regular sexual activity, and again, whatever form feels comfortable and consistent for both partners, is incredibly beneficial. It reduces inflammation, helps maintain healthy testosterone, prevents that stagnation. Dr. Carr really emphasizes consistency and comfort over, say, intensity or performance pressure. He often tells his patients, look, intimacy isn't selfish. It's not just an indulgence. It's healthcare. It's as fundamental as drinking water or getting enough sleep. And when men find the courage, maybe have those conversations and find ways to embrace intimacy again, the results are often amazing. Yes, the body responds, prostate health often improves, but it goes beyond that. Their joy comes back, their confidence, that feeling of connection, of feeling fully themselves. One man told Dr. Carr after rediscovering intimacy, I feel like a man again. I didn't realize how much I'd lost until I found it. It truly nourishes the whole person. So gentlemen, we've walked through these 7 habits today. Habits that can silently, gradually contribute to prostate enlargement and steal away some of that freedom and quality of life. Sitting too long, not drinking enough pure water, holding urine, eating too many processed foods, skimping on sleep, exercising the wrong way or not enough, and maybe neglecting intimacy. Each one might seem small on its own, right? But put them together day after day, year after year. They really shape your future health. Dr. Kara sees so many men who just accept these issues as, well, that's just the price of getting older. But it really, truly doesn't have to be that way. Your prostate is listening. It responds to your choices every single day. Every glass of water you choose over soda, every short walk you take instead of staying seated, every night you prioritize restful sleep, every healthier meal, every moment of comfortable closeness. You're sending your prostate a message of healing, of support, instead of harm. This isn't about feeling guilty or deprived. It's about realizing the incredible power you actually have over your own health. So our challenge to you, starting today, is to look at these habits in your own life. Protect your sleep. Honor your body's signals when you need to drink, when you need to go. Nourish yourself with real food. Embrace movement that feels good. And don't close the door on intimacy. Because ultimately, this isn't just about managing a gland. It's about safeguarding your dignity, your strength, your independence. It's about having the freedom to live these next years fully, vibrantly, and on your own terms. And that, gentlemen, that's absolutely worth investing in.
Absolutely. We really hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights and, more importantly, some practical, doable steps you can take starting today to feel more in control of your prostate health. Thank you so much for joining us. If you found this conversation helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like this deep dive. Maybe share it with a friend or family member who could benefit. And of course, subscribe to our channel for more insights on living well.